It's Thursday, April 16th, 2026. Because I'm traveling this week, welcome, a day early, to episode 199 of the Alameda Postcast, an audio service of the Alameda Post. I'm your host, Scott Peeler. If you check the logo for this week's show, you'll probably figure out where I'm headed. In this edition of the Postcast, a busy week for the Alameda Fire Department, Alameda Police look to add to their drone fleet, a preview of a full city council agenda, a record-breaking 2 weeks for the Alameda real estate scene, headed to Hawaii? Check your sunscreen. KPFA to be honored at CHRS, and our walking history tours return. These stories and more on this episode of the Alameda Postcast. Our top story, on Friday morning, April 10th, Alameda Fire Department responded to a reported fire in the Alameda Hotel Apartments at 1415 Broadway. AFD initially sent 3 engine companies, 2 truck companies, 1 ambulance, 1 battalion chief, and the Alameda Care Team. Alameda Municipal Power, PG&E, Alameda Police, and the Alameda Building Department all provided assistance, while Oakland Fire Department provided mutual aid fire station coverage, and a Falck ambulance was requested to the scene for standby. The first units on the scene reported smoke coming from the windows of a second-floor apartment and heavy black smoke inside the second-floor hallway, with multiple people who needed to be rescued on the roof and the fire escape on the Santa Clara Avenue side of the historic building. Firefighters immediately accessed the apartment where the fire started and were able to extinguish the fire there, protecting adjoining units and saving the remainder of the 3-story apartment building. They also successfully rescued residents from the roof and fire escape. The fire was contained to that single unit and was extinguished in approximately 20 minutes. A total of 22 firefighters responded to the scene. There were no reported firefighter injuries. 3 patients were treated and released at the scene. The cause of the fire is currently under investigation. Story and pictures at alamedapost.com/news. In other happier AFD news, look for Chief Nick Luby to get up close and personal with Bosco the Pig. Why? AFD was declared the winner of the 2026 Fire Truck Face-Off. Since 2023, Sacramento-based Golden State Fire Apparatus has sponsored the playoff-style face-off, with 32 California fire departments vying for the first prize, $1,500 for their chosen charity. In the final online vote, City of Alameda defeated Turlock. The prize money will benefit the Alameda Food Bank. As part of the Get Out the Vote drive, Chief Luby promised that if AFD took top place, he'd kiss Alameda's famous Bosco the Pig. Well, pucker up, Chief. AFD has promised to live stream the event at the food bank with truck number 1 and Bosco. Story at alamedapost.com/news. Last Thursday, at a sparsely attended public meeting at the O Club on Alameda Point, Alameda Police presented their legally required military equipment report, which is required by 2021's California AB 481, which stipulates that police departments must receive approval from elected officials before purchasing military equipment and provide an annual report on that equipment's use. APD Captain Jeffrey Emmett is the department's designated military equipment coordinator. He reported that the 2 X-10 surveillance drones purchased in 2024 were used 14 times in 2025, while the ballistic armored tactical transport, essentially an armored F-550 box truck, was utilized twice, once to assist the U.S. Marshals Service Fugitive Task Force to execute a search warrant arrest, the other time in support of the Alameda 4th of July parade. APD received no complaints about the use of the equipment and now plans to purchase 2 additional drones. The original drone purchase request was for 4 units, but only initial 2 were approved. While the first 2 drones cost a total of just under $125,000, drones 3 and 4 will only cost a total of just over $62,000, with payments spread out over 5 years. Having 4 drones instead of 2 improves the department's ability to monitor multiple incidents at the same time and ensure that police can continuously monitor situations that stretch beyond the drone's 30-minute battery life. The use of the drones is restricted by City Council, which passed legislation prohibiting their use to monitor unpermitted car shows or nonviolent crimes. The department is also looking to replace outdated Remington 870 shotguns, which had been converted to fire beanbag rounds, replacing them with 6 more modern Defense Technology 40mm single-shot launchers, which are more accurate in non-lethal force situations and provide a greater standoff distance up to 40 yards. 6 of the units, outfitted with red dot optical sights, will cost $13,395. Both the drones and the launchers would be paid from existing department funds. Most of the $209,000 Alameda spent on existing military-style equipment last year went to training. The 715 hours Alameda police officers spent learning to use drones cost the city $106,000, while officers racked up $83,000 in expenses training to use the department's arsenal of AR-15 and related semi-automatic rifles. Anyone who might need to use an AR-15 in the light of duty, which is about 4 dozen police officers, must complete 16 hours of training twice a year. APD has 9 officers and 3 sergeants trained to use the drones, ensuring they can be deployed during any shift. Most of the questions raised about APD's use of military equipment related to its use of drones, including when and why they're deployed and how information they collect is stored and shared. Emmett said video footage is wiped after 30 days unless it's evidence and only shared with other jurisdictions if they can demonstrate that it's linked directly to a crime they are investigating. City Council will consider at its next regular meeting on April 21st whether or not to approve the annual military equipment report and continue to allow the department to use existing military equipment. Story and pictures in Matt Carter's article at alamedapost.com/news. That's just part of what Council will be addressing on Tuesday. Multiple items on the agenda, including 3 major Alameda Point concerns, including potentially approving a set of agreements with Radium Presents to develop and operate their new 53,000 square foot performing arts center. The project would be fully funded and built by the developer, includes an approximately 600-seat main theater, a smaller studio theater, rehearsal and event space, and public outdoor areas. Radium's stated goal, to create a regional cultural destination capable of attracting national and international performers while still providing affordable access for community-based artists. To move the project forward, Council must declare the 1.87-acre site exempt surplus land under state law and approve a phased real estate structure, including a 3-year lease option, a 66-year ground lease at $1 a year, and a future purchase option after at least 10 years of successful operation. The agreements require the developer to secure full project funding, meet construction and operational benchmarks, and maintain the site's nonprofit use. In return, the project includes community benefits such as public access to a plaza, discounted tickets, nonprofit rental discounts, local hiring goals, and at least 200 annual uses of the facility. Council will also consider approving a contract with Ruby's Place Incorporated, also known as Restorative Pathways, to operate the city's homeless day center, emergency shelter, and safe parking. The proposed agreement would run May 1 through June 30th of next year, with an optional 1-year extension. This is in the wake of the failed contract with Urban Alchemy. Also on the docket, the sale of Building 92 at 650 West Ranger Avenue to Ernst Development Partners for $7.825 million. Building 92 is the former Alameda Food Bank facility. Also on Tuesday's agenda, an ordinance banning the sale and distribution of nitrous oxide by tobacco retailers, convenience stores, and similar businesses. Finally, Council will look to improve enforcement of the transient occupancy tax. No increases, just a strengthening of existing law. Full details, including ways you can make your voice heard, in Karen Jensen's article on Friday at alamedapost.com/news. Shifting from commercial to residential real estate, as we noted last week, a record was broken when 16 Killarney Place on Bay Farm sold for $4,875,000, the highest price ever paid for a single-family home in Alameda. From March 31st to April 13th, 19 homes were sold, 14 on Alameda proper, 5 on Bay Farm. Full details in Liz Rush's article at alamedapost.com/real-estate. Heading to Hawaii, make sure you check your sunscreen. The state of Hawaii severely limits the formulations of sunscreens that can be used in the interest of ocean health. On Maui, it's even stricter, where they only allow mineral-based sunscreens. Denise Lum has the details at alamedapost.com/health-fitness.
My name is Jenna, and I went to the Radio Museum in Alameda. I saw old radios with glowing lights and knobs. Some of them can play the music I like. Go to chrsradio.org to learn how you can visit.
Another student announcer from the Soundbites program at California Historical Radio Society. More of those to come in the weeks ahead. Speaking of CHRS, they'll be hosting a tribute to KPFA, the first in the nation listener-supported radio station, with a film screening, Q&A, and a reception. Details in my article at alamedapost.com/alameda-life. Our resident historian, Dennis Evanowski, delving into some ancient history. I mean, like really ancient, 650,000 years ago. That's the very beginning of Bay Farm Island. You can check it all out on our upcoming walking history tour this weekend, Saturday and Sunday at 10 o'clock. Head to alamedapost.com/tours. Hope you can join me Sunday morning at 8 a.m. on KCSM HD2 when my guest on the Alameda Connection will be Elisa Glickman, the Executive Director of the West Alameda Business Association. If you don't have an HD radio, you can stream the show at kcsm.org. Find the Alameda Post on all the social media platforms, now including TikTok. You can subscribe to us on Apple News and sign up for our weekly news digest at alamedapost.com/email-digest. Get the Postcast wherever you get your podcasts, or simply tell your smart device to play the Alameda Postcast podcast. I'm Scott Peeler, back on schedule next week, Friday the 24th, with the bicentennial episode of the Alameda Postcast.